Socrates, a martyr for free speech? No, he's the one who trained the tyrants who destroyed the Athenian democracy. The traditional oligarchical narrative about the trial of Socrates and his subsequent suicide is supposed to illustrate how intolerant and unjust the Athenian democracy was. He was a gadfly towards the authorities of Athens, the Sophists. He would go around asking them questions, trying to demonstrate that they knew nothing, that they had no knowledge. In this narrative, he is falsely accused of bringing forth false gods and corrupting the youth of Athens. However, we must get past this propagandative narrative of the aristocrats and put the events that led to his death into historical context. After the Persian-Greek Wars, Athens became a direct democracy. It was flourishing. And Sophism became the superstructure, the intellectual superstructure of this new movement. As the Athenians got the upper hand on the Persian Empire, they would liberate cities. And when they liberated the cities, they would make these cities a radical democracy, disenfranchising the elite and upholding the lower classes, making them rule. This was wildfire. It was like something like the French or Russian Revolution. This paradigm revolution caused a reactionary backlash. And this backlash was led by Sparta, who did not suffer from the decadence of luxury like the other oligarchies around the region. This reactionary war that Sparta would lead against the Athenians was called the Peloponnesian War. In modern context, you could consider it the first Red Scare. Some Athenians, especially among the rich, were secret laconophiles. These are lovers of the Spartan tradition of aristocracy. One of these laconophiles was Thucydides, the second great historian, who would use the tradition of the Sophists of using different perspectives to build a strong man argument against the Athenian democracy and Sophism. Thucydides tried to discredit the Athenian democracy and Sophism. He would do this in the Melian dialogue. In the Melian dialogue, Melia was a small island who wanted to remain neutral in the Peloponnesian War. Athens said they don't have a choice. When the Milesians complained, the Athenians said that the strong do what they will and the weak suffered what they must. This was used to discredit majority rule. This is this idea that might makes right and that this is not justice, and the Sophism had no idea what justice is. However, Thucydides was not the only laconophile. There was also Socrates in his inner circle. This inner circle included Plato, Xenophon, Critias, Charmides, and Alcibiades. The elder Socrates once saved the young Alcibiades at the Battle of Plataea, forging a lifelong bond with the younger man. Alcibiades would become Socrates' student and lover. After Alcibiades' father died in battle, he was adopted by Pericles in Aspasia. He would be taught about the Sophist philosophy from these two great intellectuals. In his education, Alcibiades would learn the art of sophistry. However, Alcibiades secretly resented Pericles and the Athenian democracy. And after Pericles died after the plague, he would use his philosophical ability to destroy the Athenian democracy. He would use his sophist skills to persuade the ecclesia, the Athenian assembly, to do an audacious and unnecessary attack on Syracuse. Now in Athens, everyone would have a Hermes statue outside their house to show their masculinity. This statue would consist of a human head and a phallus, an erect phallus symbol. Right before they would go off on the exhibition, Alcibiades and his comrades would desecrate the Hermes statues by knocking off all the phallic symbols off the statues. This horrified the Athenians and was a bad omen of what might be to become. Now the Athenians tried to recall Alcibiades back from the exhibition, but instead he betrayed Athens and went over to Sparta, revealing the plans to attack Syracuse. Sparta would eventually defeat the Athenian democracy by allying with other oligarchies, especially their old enemy, Persia. Who ruled Athens after they surrendered to Sparta? The 30 Tyrants, who among them were the Socrates' pupils, Critias and Charmides. Unlike the Sophist tradition of Herodotus, Socrates would rarely travel and would only leave Athens and Attica on military campaigns. This must be part of his anti-inductivism philosophy. He hated the ecclesia, the assembly, and he rarely took part in the Athenian direct democracy, in which he despised. Socrates did enjoy philosophizing, either at the agora, where he would challenge in confrontations with the intellectual authorities, the Sophists, or at drinking parties with his friends. He could handle his alcohol extremely well. Socrates admired Sparta's discipline and simplicity way of life. Socrates rejected the Athenian gods. He said that gods can't contradict each other. This was part of his idea of truth. There only could be one truth, monotheism. He influenced the elite youth of Athens to commit treason against their city, Athens, and their goddess, Athena. Please, if you've been watching these videos, please like it and even comment and share it with a friend who also likes history or philosophy. I really like to have a philosophical dialogue with you also. If you have any challenges or ask questions about my sources or just questions about history or philosophy, please let me know. Thank you for participating.